What's happened behind you, Jack?
There goes Turkey.
See you, Turkey. See you never again. Thanks for coming to the World Cup. We won! We won! We won! We won! Oh my god! I can't believe it. I was like doing the play ratings in my room alone with my greyhound, and I screamed so loud I think I shattered my windows. Oh my god, I can't believe we won! We played so well. Oh my god, the two goals were incredible. Patrick Beach in goal was incredible. I cannot even believe it. I've been looking online at all the videos of the people around the country, at the live sites, at Fed Square, at Tombalong Park, just like bouncing up and down. Oh my gosh, it's like the Women's World Cup all over again. Jack, you're there. I saw on the TV that like 10,000 Socceroos fans in that little yellow wedge. What's the vibe there? Is it amazing?
When Iran Kunda scored that goal, it was wild, right? You saw all those Socceroos pile on top of him celebrating. The whole bench cleared. All those purple bibs ran over and celebrated again. Up the other end, Patrick Beach is there with that wedge of 10,000 Australian fans. They're all going wild. It was a historic moment here in Vancouver. I was so privileged to be part of it. I've been down talking to players, talking to Tony Popovich. How does Australia feel about this result?
It's amazing back here. Martin, you've also been like observing the web, seeing what's been going on. How do we describe this? Where do we rank this kind of result in like World Cup history? I'm thinking about like 2006 Japan type of stuff.
Yeah, I think the comparisons to 20 years ago in Germany are quite reasonable, and especially when Nestor and Kunda pulled out that celebration as a homage to Tim Carl, what he did 20 years ago, almost to the day. It did feel like that all over again, that sort of raw emotion celebration. No one really knows how to respond. And I think that's partly what we expected from these Socceroos. That's such a young lineup. We didn't really know what was coming. Would they be able to rise to the occasion, or were they going to wilt under the pressure? But I think we saw that they definitely did the former.
And it was a wild, like, squad selection, right? I think I was among many who were shocked when we got the lineups first up, especially Patrick Beach stepping in for Maddie Ryan, the captain of Socceroos, one of the most experienced Australians ever at World Cups. And he was sitting on the bench. Jack, what was the vibe amongst the Aussie media, though, that were over there when you got those lineups?
There were these murmurs just before we had confirmation, Maddie Ryan's out. And we didn't know whether it was injury. We didn't know whether he'd got the runny nose Mo Touré's been complaining about. We didn't know what was going on. But he did come out and warm up Patrick Beach. And so that became apparent. It became apparent then that Tony Popovich has just dropped the hugest selection shock in Socceroos history, dropping the national captain ahead of the start of the World Cup. It's unprecedented. But then to also see Patrick Beach perform as he did, he skewed the first clearance he had out right over the touchline, looked a little bit nervous, but you couldn't argue with his performance, particularly that second half, keeping Turkey at bay with, what was it, 3, 4, 5 saves? And that one in the first half, like Martin, how did it look on TV? Did you get the slow motion replays?
It was hard to watch, especially early on. Like you said, he did look a little bit shaky, more so with his ball distribution. But once he had to call on his shot-stopping skills that we've already seen in the A-League, that's where he was able to come to the fore. And he certainly stepped up as Turkey kept trying to mount the pressure and taking those long shots initially. And then when it was those goal-mouth scrambles, he was still there, saving free kicks, saving long-range shots. It would have been very different without him in the end. So, it certainly rose to the occasion as well.
He was.
I'm just seeing whether the Socceroos bus is coming past. Just let me know if you see him behind me, okay? Because they were very slow.
Right there. Is that what's happening?
They were very slow in coming out for the mix zone for the interviews they do after the game in the stadium. So I think they've probably got a bit more time here. But we might be able to catch them sometime in the next 10 minutes or so. So just let me know, and I'll clear the path so you can actually see. But the vibes in the stadium were incredible. The first thing that struck you was when every time Australia got the ball, the noise of the whistling and the jeering from the Turkish fans that clearly outnumbered the Australians was hurting my ears. I was trying to find the the earplugs I had for the plane ride over in my bag, but I didn't have them. Such was the pain. And Australia were loud and they were passionate in the stands, but it was clear that they were in the minority. But by the end, they were the ones making the more noise.
When the Socceroos played against Tunisia in Qatar in 2022, and like there was maybe 1/50th of the stadium was Australian fans and the rest were Tunisian, and every single time a Socceroo touched the ball, like the whole stadium just was filled with whistling. It's so intimidating, it's so scary, but what I loved so much about this Socceroos performance was that they were just not fazed. You know, like all of that banter in the lead up to this game, the comments from the Turkish captain, the comments from the head coach, all of that like sort of slight, you know, like just like passive aggressive, like passing him off as like, oh, this is going to be a slam dunk for us. Yeah, look what's happened now, buddy. Your team was pretty terrible, it turns out. And look what we can do when we just like decide to attack every now and then. Like, how good. I was really worried that this Tony Popovich side would be hyper defensive, just bunker down, park the bus, and then try and break free and break forward once on a blue moon. But we actually had more opportunities than I was expecting. I was really, really impressed with some of the build-up that we had, especially through Connor Metcalf, who I think has just been like an unsung hero for the Socceroos in such a long time. I'm so stoked for him that he had this moment. His goal was incredible. He didn't give up, which I really, really appreciate about him. And I hope that we can celebrate him as well. We can celebrate that in amongst, obviously, Irankunda, the golden child, well, for that just astonishing solo run. And the little touch he took around the defender, that first touch, oh my God, it's going to be a YouTube highlights reel almost immediately, I guarantee it.
Sam, I got to hold you up on that, on the way we played, and whether or not the way we played was positive, was any more balanced. Like, I think in the first 10 minutes we had the Turkey had 73% of possession, and we improved a little bit. By I think 30th minute we might have dropped that down to in the 50s, but we were still pursuing this direct style, right? You know, finding Toure in the channels and largely sitting deep. And while we were very, very fortunate in Irankunda's brilliant finish and the way we defended in the second half, look, I think without Patrick Beach's efforts, the score could have been very different. And indeed, this is what Nestor Irankunda said after the game. He pretty much said he was proud of Patrick Beach, the way he played, but also he saved them.
Jack, isn't this what Tony Popovich has been setting Australia up for, though, for the past for 18 months since he's taken on the role? That I think he appreciates that Australia is not going to control the ball, control the territory against teams such as Turkey at the World Cup. So he's set up with that dynamic front three that can play on the counter, the low block that can withstand the pressure. And then it's worked to perfection today. With that, the three across the front that he ended up choosing, he rolled the dice to some degree with Nestor Irankunda, who's been more of a game changer off the bench under Popovich's tenure, but it's paid off when it counts.
Look, I take your point, and who doesn't love a winner? But let's not try and recast this as anything else but the truth, which is we are a very well organised, physical, disciplined side with a few tricks up our sleeve. And that's great. That's probably going to take us to the round of 32, round of 16. Who knows how far we can go. Our players are beautiful, technical footballers at times, but watching the Turkish players, seeing Kenan Yildiz come on, change the game down that left flank, he was brilliant. Arda Güler wasn't on his game, but you could also see the quality. And while we did beat this Turkish side 2-0, I do feel like we need to give them a little bit of respect. They are also, beautiful footballers and very skillful. Maybe they just didn't get it together tonight, and we did.
Oh, Jack, stop it. We don't need to be nice to these people, okay? We are patriotic. We are here only for Australia. We don't care about being nice to anyone else. Like, yeah, sure, they've got sparkling footballers. Someone plays for Real Madrid. Someone else plays somewhere else. But did they show up today? No, they didn't. And these are the games where it actually matters. You can be a Ballon d'Or winner, but if you're going to have a crap game against Australia, this is what people are going to remember you for. So, good luck. I hope that they play the same against the USA, because it means that we'll probably get into the top two of the group, which would be very hectic for us. I don't think any of us here ever expected that kind of situation to happen. Or I don't know, maybe Paraguay will spring a surprise. Who knows? But on your point, Jack, about Tony Popovic, he won the Asian Champions League playing this way, my friend. Who knows? We can maybe defend our way all the way to the final and just have Irankunda as a little just sneaky surprise every now and then, scoring the only goal that we need to get through. Because I would challenge literally any team that I've watched so far to get through that back three. Harry Suter, Alessandro Ciccati, and Cam Burgess were absolutely mountainous. They were so incredible. They are terrifyingly big, but they were also just so calm. They were so, like, together. They knew exactly what to do in the moments of pressure. And, like, Turkey, for all the shots that they had, and for Patrick Beach's, acrobatics, absolutely, I give credit to him there, they actually were quite sensational. I haven't seen a defensive performance like that from the Socceroos in quite a long time. So I'm stoked with that. I'm stoked with the substitutions as well that Tony Popovic made. I think they were quite smart. And also, on topic of debutants, good on Paul Okonengsla. I think he really grew into the game. He delivered that fantastic pass for Irankunda's opening goal. He started to really warm up to things, I think, the more confidence that he got. It's really lovely to see this Socceroos team who is brimming with youth. I think there was like 7 players under the age of 24 in the starting lineup, something like that. The maximum number of caps on the field at kickoff was 38. Like, this is so exciting for the Socceroos. This is so exciting for Australian football. And I'm really pleased that Tony Popovic has been able to get this out of such a young team with such little World Cup experience.
Well, I think this is the key point here. The World Cup stuff, our story, it hasn't really captured the national consciousness yet. Martin, you've seen the build up, from the office in Sydney, right? The World Cup hasn't really arrived. Do you feel like now it's arrived?
Absolutely, it's arrived. But we've seen it in the past, even 4 years ago in Qatar, that when the Socceroos progress through the knockouts, how the nation jumps on board, whether they're soccer fans or not. They might only be coming along every 4 years, but I think they've come and joined the party much earlier this time around with a win like that over a team that was so highly fancied and talking themselves up. I do think Turkey really played into Australia's hands with sort of trying to peg their way through that compact defence. I'm curious if the US will take a similar approach, given they had such a rousing victory, lots of attacking flair. Will that mean that they try and play in a similar way against Australia, which might work to Australia's benefit as well?
I'm so pumped for what I'm calling the soccer off. Next week, it's the United States versus Australia, the two countries that call it soccer, fighting for the soccer off trophy. Look, it's going to be so great. There's been so much build up to this clash against the United States. And what a privilege to be able to play the hosts in a match that is just like us tonight, getting excited about our team. That's what the US went through yesterday. They've realized, Jesus, the World Cup's on. We've got to get involved. And so both countries are now 3 points on the table, coming together in Seattle. It's going to be so huge, like a really proper, memorable showdown against the hosts. Couldn't have asked for anything better in the build-up than this. But Sam, it's going to be a different dynamic to that game. Maybe more end-to-end. Do you think they're going to tease Tony Popovic's team out a little bit more to play maybe a little bit more bravely?
I think so. The other term that I've heard on Twitter tonight is the Battle of Seattle. So let's see if that one sticks. I do think it's going to be a very different game. I think the way that the USA absolutely dismantled Paraguay is kind of terrifying. They were really sharp. They were really energized. They pressed really high and really in a really coordinated way. They have so much attacking flair, so much creativity. Christian Pulisic is in maybe the form of his career. They just have so many different kinds of weapons. And I think they, as the hosts, also have that kind of that extra drive, right? That extra impetus of like, this is the last time our generation is going to have a chance to do this. They've, I think, like fallen short quite a bit in previous World Cups. But this is a generation of like some really startlingly good players. And I think under Pochettino, They are playing a type of football that a lot of American fans can really get around. For Popovich and the Socceroos, I mean, like if we thought tonight was a defensive performance, I think it's going to have to go to another level against the USA. They are just so scary in so many different ways, and they're also quite defensively resolute as well. So it's going to be a really great game. I hope it's a bit more open. I hope that we take some confidence and some bravery from tonight's win against Turkey, and that we unleash some of our attacking weapons a little bit more, especially Geordie Boss. I thought he was quite conservative against Turkey tonight, maybe because he did have to basically just usher Arda Güler for the entirety of the game. But against some of these Americans, I think he can stack up physically. He's got the athleticism, he's got the speed, he knows exactly when to make those butt-gusting runs. Butt-gusting? That's not a word. I hope that gets edited out. But, you know, like we have so much potential, I think, to put on a really fantastic attacking performance against this US side. But whether Tony Popovich goes for that, rather than just trying to grind out a 0-0 draw and earn a point, which might be enough to get us in second place, who knows?
I can't see this big Battle of Seattle taking place in anything other than a big defensive, resolute performance again from the Socceroos. I don't see how they're going to, if they've got the arsenal to sort of take on the US in that way that you're hoping for, Jack.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not hoping for them to take unnecessary risks. I'm looking forward to seeing the potential of this Australian side. You know, maybe they don't just have one plan A. You know, maybe they've got a plan B, a plan C. Seeing what this squad has to offer. Obviously, the players did well today, but look, Tony Popovich wasn't shy in looking to his bench. He just kept pulling out substitutes in that second half. And, you know, maybe he does have a few more surprises up his sleeve after the ones he's already delivered us tonight.
To wait and see. Do we dare do a score prediction now? I feel like I'm cursed when it comes to score predictions. I think we draw with the USA. I think we draw 2-2.
I'm thinking a little bit tighter, but still the same result. 1-1 draw.
Jack?
Well, you sad disbelievers there. It's Popovich's Socceroos all the way. 3-1 against the hosts United States. Bring it on. Round of 32, let's go. Start booking my hotel, my bosses. We're going all the way.
Let's go! Let's go, Socceroos! Woo!